build the life they said you never could. They said you couldn't. They said you weren't enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, not wealthy enough, not born into the right family, not carrying the right name. They looked at you, measured you against their shallow vision, and placed a limit on your life. But here's the truth. Their limits are not your destiny. Their disbelief is not your reality. Their words are not chains unless you decide to wear them. Every man and woman who ever built greatness walked through the valley of doubt. Edison was called a fool. Ford was ridiculed as a dreamer. Disney was told he lacked imagination. Lincoln was mocked as unfit. Every giant of history was once a nobody, dismissed by the comfortable, doubted by the safe, ignored by the average. And yet they built. They built because they refused to accept the verdict of small minds. They built because their vision was louder than the voices against them. They built because they understood the truth. Napoleon Hill wrote a century ago, "What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Conceive, believe, achieve. That is the blueprint of transformation. But make no mistake, it is not enough to dream. Dreams without belief are illusions, and belief without action is paralysis. You must bind them together with discipline, with courage, with relentless movement. The world is full of those who had ideas, but never the courage to execute them. Their notebooks gather dust. Their visions are buried with them. Do not let that be your story. Do not let your dream rot in the soil of hesitation. When they said you couldn't, they revealed nothing about you. They only revealed themselves, their fears, their limits, their smallness. People project their own cages onto you because they cannot imagine freedom. They clip their own wings and then mock you for wanting to fly. But hear me, you were not born to crawl, you were born to ascend. The question is not whether you are capable, the question is whether you are willing. Willing to silence their voices, willing to bleed for your purpose, willing to face ridicule, rejection, and risk, because the life they said you could never build is waiting on the other side of that pain. Do you understand? Every insult, every doubt, every dismissal is a gift. It is fuel. It is proof that you are aiming higher than they ever dared. It is evidence that you are walking a path so bold it frightens the timid. They laughed at Edison when his lab filled with smoke. They mocked Carnegie when he left school to work in a factory. They doubted Jobs when he returned to Apple, a company on the edge of death. But laughter, mockery, and doubt are the applause of mediocrity when it feels threatened by greatness. So let them laugh, let them doubt, let them predict your failure. Their words are powerless unless you stop moving. But you must move, you must act, you must rise with the fire of conviction that says, I will build. Not tomorrow, not someday, not later now. Because the ones who said you couldn't, they are watching. They are waiting to be proven right. Do not hand them that victory. Show them what a soul on fire looks like. Show them what happens when belief hardens into action, when vision becomes muscle, when discipline becomes destiny. You must carve your vision into reality with the blade of persistence. You must hammer it into existence with the rhythm of discipline. You must water it with sweat and guard it with courage. And when the nights grow long and the failures pile up, when every voice inside you whispers, maybe they were right, you must remember, every master was once a beginner. Every builder was once broken. Every king was once doubted. The difference is not in talent. The difference is in decision. Decision to believe when no one else does. Decision to rise when failure knocks you down. Decision to endure when comfort seduces you to quit. This is the secret most never learn. Greatness is not inherited, it is forged. Not gifted, but demanded. Not given, but earned in the silence of early mornings, in the discipline of unseen hours, in the courage to take another step when your body screams to stop. So ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to sacrifice comfort for growth, security for vision, approval for destiny? Because make no mistake, the price is real. Success will demand your sleep, your comfort, your certainty. It will demand nights of loneliness, days of exhaustion, and years of being misunderstood. But here is the greater truth. The reward is also real. The life they said you couldn't build will become the proof that you were never ordinary. It will become the anthem of your soul, the monument of your resilience, the legacy of your decision. Think of it. One day, the very people who doubted you will use your name as an example of what is possible. One day, the laughter will turn to silence, and the silence will turn to awe. One day, they will whisper, "I was wrong about you." And when that day comes, it will not be because of luck. It will not be because of chance. It will be because you refuse to wait, refuse to quit, refuse to bow to the verdict of small minds. So stand up, shake off the chains of hesitation, burn the word impossible from your vocabulary, refuse the poison of later, reject the coffin of comfort. Decide right here, right now, that you will build the life they said you never could, because you can, because you must, because destiny demands it. You see, every barrier they place before you is nothing but a test of will, a test of faith, a test of how badly you desire the life you claim to want. The universe does not hand crowns to the uncommitted. It sharpens you with resistance, tempers you with rejection, and molds you with difficulty. It asks you, with every setback, do you still want it? And if you answer yes, if you rise after every fall, if you continue when most would quit, then life will kneel before you. Because persistence is the language the universe understands. It does not respond to wishing, to hoping, to waiting. It responds to action, to discipline, to resilience. Napoleon Hill spoke of it with clarity. Every adversity carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But that seed is only unlocked by those who refuse to surrender. The storms are not punishments, they are preparation. The rejections are not denials, they are redirections. The failures are not endings, they are beginnings in disguise. Think of Thomas Edison. Thousands of failed attempts were not failures, they were tuition. They were the price he paid for mastery. Every broken filament brought him closer to the bulb that changed the world. And when asked about his so-called failures, he simply said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is the mindset you must carry. Failures are not tombstones, they are stepping stones. Doubt is not a wall. It is a mirror asking, do you truly believe? Pain is not punishment. It is the hammer shaping the steel of your soul. So stop running from adversity. Embrace it. Thank it. For adversity is proof that you are moving, proof that you are alive, proof that you are pursuing something worthy of resistance. But do not confuse struggle with stagnation. Struggle means you are climbing. Stagnation means you are rotting. One leads upward, the other downward. And you must choose. The life they said you could never build will not appear in the comfort of stagnation. It is forged in the fire of struggle. It is birthed in the labor of consistency. It is raised in the arms of resilience. Look at Abraham Lincoln, defeated in election after election, labeled a failure, dismissed as unfit. But each loss carved depth into his character, forged patience in his spirit, until at last he stood as the leader who preserved a nation. If he had listened to the voices of doubt, if he had waited for perfect timing, history would remember him as nothing but another forgotten man. But he refused to wait. He refused to quit. He built the life they said he never could, and so must you. Do not look at your lack of money and say, "I cannot start." Do not look at your lack of support and say, "I cannot build." Do not look at your lack of experience and say, "I cannot rise." These are not barriers. They are the raw materials of your greatness. Every fortune began with scarcity. Carnegie began in poverty. Jobs began in a garage. Oprah began in hardship. They did not wait until they had resources. They acted, and by acting, they attracted the resources. Because resources follow resolve. Money follows movement. Support follows strength. You must understand, the world does not believe in potential. The world believes in results. It will not open doors for you because you say you are capable. It will open doors when you show you are relentless. So stop pleading for belief from others. Build so boldly that their doubt is irrelevant. Move so fiercely that their laughter becomes background noise. Prove so consistently that their disbelief collapses under the weight of your results. And when you rise, when your vision becomes undeniable, those same voices will call you lucky. Let them. Luck is the excuse of the lazy. Luck is the story the weak tell themselves to explain the success of the strong. But you will know the truth. It was discipline. It was decision. It was action. And what of fear? Fear is the phantom that stalks every dreamer. Fear will whisper that you are not ready, that you might fail, that others will mock you. But fear is a liar. Fear is smoke without fire. Fear is nothing more than the shadow cast by the greatness standing in front of you. The cure for fear is movement. Every step forward shrinks it. Every act of courage starves it. And one day, you will look back and wonder why you were ever afraid at all. Walt Disney once said, "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Not the talent, not the connections, not the resources. The courage. Because courage is the spark that ignites action, and action is the fire that builds destiny." So stop waiting for courage to arrive fully formed. It will not. Courage grows only when exercised. You must step into the unknown, trembling, uncertain, terrified, and by stepping, you become courageous. Do not despise your fear. Use it. Let it remind you that you are walking the edge where growth is found. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are moving towards something worthy. The life they said you could never build is not beyond your reach. It is on the other side of fear. It is on the other side of discipline. It is on the other side of decision.
Sow the seed. Build. Rise. Now.
Not when you are ready, because you never will be. Not when conditions are perfect, because they never will be. Not when everyone believes, because they never will. Build in the storm. Build in the darkness. Build in the silence. Build until the noise of your results silences the noise of their doubt. Because the world does not need another dreamer waiting for permission. The world needs a builder who dares to create what others believe impossible. And that builder is you. There will always be voices. Voices of doubt. Voices of mockery. Voices of reason dressed in fear. They will tell you to be realistic, to lower your standards, to shrink your dreams, until they fit the size of their comfort. They will warn you not to risk, not to stand out, not to want too much. And if you listen, you will join them, the vast crowd of the average, the army of the ordinary, the masses who traded destiny for safety. But you are not here to be ordinary. You are not here to conform. You are not here to fit into the cage someone else built. You are here to defy, to rise, to rebel against the verdict of small thinkers. You are here to prove that the limits they placed on you were lies. Every revolutionary, every innovator, every creator who changed the course of history had to walk through this fire. They were ridiculed, rejected, abandoned, but they did not bow, they did not shrink, they did not surrender. They chose the harder road, the lonelier road, the road paved with doubt and sacrifice. And because they walked it, the world is different. Henry Ford was told, if people need faster travel, they'll buy more horses. He ignored them and gave the world the automobile. The Wright brothers were told, if man were meant to fly, God would have given him wings. They ignored them and touched the sky. Nelson Mandela was told he would die in a prison cell. He ignored them and walked out to lead a nation. What about you? What will history say you ignored? Understand this. People will call you crazy until they call you a genius. They will call you foolish until they call you visionary. They will call you reckless until they call you revolutionary. That is the rhythm of greatness. First they doubt, then they mock, then they envy, then they admire. So do not fear their doubt. Do not waste energy proving yourself to them. Prove yourself to the vision inside you. Because if the fire burns bright enough within, no storm outside can extinguish it. But fire alone is not enough. Fire must be directed. Fire must be disciplined. Fire without focus is destruction. Fire with focus is transformation. That is why you need clarity. Clarity is the compass. Without it, you will burn yourself out chasing every distraction, every false opportunity, every shiny promise. But with clarity, your energy becomes unstoppable. Every action compounds. Every hour builds upon the last. Every sacrifice has meaning. So get clear. What do you want? Not what others want for you, not what society expects of you. What do you want? What life do you hunger for so deeply it keeps you awake at night? Write it, define it, see it, carry it in your mind until it becomes more real than the reality around you. For what the mind focuses on expands. What you see internally, you will create externally. This is not magic. This is law. Andrew Carnegie carried his vision of steel long before the skyscrapers rose. Walt Disney carried his vision of a magical kingdom long before the gates of Disneyland opened. They saw it first in the invisible theater of the mind. And because they saw it, they built it. So see yours, hold it, protect it, and then pursue it with obsession. Obsession is not weakness. Obsession is power. Every master was obsessed, every legend was consumed. Edison was obsessed with light. Beethoven was obsessed with music. Jobs was obsessed with design. Obsession is the engine of mastery, the proof that you are chasing something worthy. The world will tell you to be balanced, but balance is for the average. Balance is the excuse of those who never dared to give everything to a cause. If you want to build the life they said you never could, you cannot tiptoe. You cannot dip your toe in the water. You must dive fully, recklessly, relentlessly. And when exhaustion comes, because it will remember this, exhaustion is not a signal to quit. It is a sign that you are in the arena, that you are giving what the weak withhold. Rest if you must, but never retreat. Pause if you must, but never surrender. The dream is too costly to abandon, the vision too sacred to betray. There will be days when progress feels invisible, days when the weight feels unbearable, days when you wonder if you are deluding yourself. Those are the days that define you. Anyone can move when momentum is visible, but legends are built in the shadows, when nothing seems to be working, yet you keep going anyway. Because faith is not faith when evidence is obvious. Faith is faith when everything looks impossible, yet you act as if it were inevitable. So when doubt screams, answer with action. When fear whispers, answer with movement. When failure strikes, answer with persistence. And when the world says you cannot, answer with the life you build before their eyes. The life they said you never could is not a fantasy. It is a decision. A decision repeated daily, hourly, moment by moment. A decision to silence excuses, to crush hesitation, to kill the word later. Do not wait for permission. Permission is a prison. If the giants of history had waited for permission, we would still live in darkness, in silence, in chains. You owe it to them, and more importantly, you owe it to yourself to act. So rise now, not half-hearted, not cautiously, not with one foot in and one foot out. Rise with total commitment. Rise with the unshakable certainty that the life they said you never could is the life you are destined to build. And when you rise, do not look back. Do not glance at the doubters. Do not measure your pace against the hesitant. Run your race, build your empire, live your vision, and let the world catch up if it can. And one day, they will ask you how you did it, how you built the life they swore was impossible, how you rose from nothing, how you turned every rejection into resilience, how you transformed every doubt into fuel. They will ask as if there was a secret, a shortcut, a stroke of luck, but you will know. You will know it was not luck, it was not chance, it was not permission from others. It was decision, it was discipline, it was the refusal to wait. You see, greatness is not one moment, it is thousands of small choices, stacked day after day, in the silence when no one is watching. It is waking up when your body begs to sleep. It is studying when your friends are partying. It is saving when others spend. It is persisting when others quit. Greatness is built in the dark before it shines in the light. Every empire begins in obscurity. Every revolution begins as a whisper. Every masterpiece begins as a sketch in the shadows. And so it is with you. Do not despise your beginnings. Do not curse your obscurity. It is there, in the quiet grind, in the hidden labor, that your foundation is being laid. For when the spotlight comes, and it will not create you. It will only reveal you. The world will see the monument, but they will not see the chiseling. They will praise the song, but they will not hear the countless notes discarded. They will admire the victory, but they will never feel the blood and sweat spilled to earn it, and that is fine, because you did not build for their applause. You built because you refused to betray the vision within you. You built because you could not die with your music still inside. You built because destiny whispered, and you had the courage to answer. There is a reason statues are built of those who acted, not those who waited. The world does not remember the hesitant. It remembers the relentless. So let your relentlessness be your legacy. Let your discipline be your crown. Let your courage be the fire that lights the path for generations to come. Think of the names carved into history: Lincoln, Mandela, Edison, Disney, Carnegie, Jobs. None of them were born extraordinary. They were ordinary souls who made extraordinary choices. They faced the same doubts, the same fears, the same voices of, "You can't." But they refused to wait. They chose to build. And because they chose, we live in the world their courage created. Now it is your turn. The baton has been passed to your hands. What will you build? What will you dare? What will you refuse to delay another day? The graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth. Buried there are inventions never made, books never written, songs never sung, businesses never started, lives never lived, all because of hesitation, all because of waiting, all because someone listened when the world said, "You can't." Do not add your dream to that cemetery. Do not let your potential be buried under the soil of fear. Build it. Build it while they doubt. Build it while they laugh. Build it while they say you are foolish. Build it until their laughter fades into silence and their silence turns into awe. Build it until the very people who said you couldn't are the ones telling your story as proof of what is possible. For that is the ultimate victory. Not revenge, not arrogance, but the quiet satisfaction of knowing you kept faith with your vision. The triumph of knowing you answered destiny's call. The joy of standing in the life they said you could never build and whispering to yourself, "I did it. I was never ordinary. I was always destined for this." So stand tall. Do not bow to fear. Do not kneel to doubt. Do not surrender to comfort. Lift your head, square your shoulders, and declare with every breath, "I will not wait. I will not delay. I will not surrender my destiny to the verdict of small minds. I will build the life they said I never could." Say it until it echoes through your bones. Say it until it drowns out every doubt. Say it until it is not just words, but identity. Because once you believe it, truly believe it, nothing can stop you. Not failure, not rejection, not scarcity, not fear, nothing. You will become unstoppable, unbreakable, unshakable. And the life they said you never could will stand as living proof. Proof that belief is stronger than doubt, that vision is stronger than circumstance, that discipline is stronger than fear. Proof that you, against all odds, chose to build. So build. Build now. Build fiercely. Build faithfully. Build with everything in you. Build until the world has no choice but to witness the monument of your courage. Because greatness is not waiting, and neither should you. Build the life they said you never could.